This world out here is lonely and cold. This world out here is so lonely and cold. This world out here is lonely and cold. Oh, I guess I'll go back home.
Right, so here we are. It's the middle of November now. It's getting quite cold. You can't tell that by the sun. But what a great way to start off this next vlog. £26.11 mirror, absolutely stunning fish. Yeah, just made up. Completely came out of the blue. Really, I wasn't expecting it yet. But yeah, check this one out. It's a bit lively, but how about that? What an absolute beaut. Completely made up. Not a bad way to start this video. Spin around and show you the other side, and then we'll go through a little bit about how I caught this fish and what I've changed recently, just to try and bring the bites again, because the fishing's been really slow. The lake hasn't done a fish in, well, probably nearly a month now since I had that last common. It's just been terrible, but I've made a few changes and it certainly seems to have worked. But there we go. What an absolute beaut. Still got another night, so we'll slip her back and see if we can catch some more. Right, so sorry about the sound or light. It's the sun keeps coming in and out in between showers, and it's picked up. The wind's really strong now. Completely different to yesterday when I had that fish. As I was saying, I've made a few changes to my setup for this session compared to the last few sessions. The lake's been fishing really slow. With those 2 weeks we had of cold temperatures down in single figures, it made a huge difference to the water temperature in here. I mean, we're looking at only 5-6 foot. At the very deepest, really 6 or 7 foot in this lake, and with the cold weather it's made a huge difference to the fishing. It's kind of killed it off at the moment. Usually fishes quite well in winter, weirdly, this lake, but this cold snap has certainly knocked it on the head. And, but yeah, the changes that I've made, it's pretty much the same setup I have been using, just with a few little tweaks. The first one being that instead of a lead-free leader like I have been using, I've actually swapped to a fluorocarbon leader that I've tied up myself. That's tied up with £30 Transcarkey Illusion fluorocarbon, which is this one from Fox. I find it a really good leader material. It's got really good knot strength, and in the water it really does disappear. It's brilliant stuff. Fluorocarbon always looks good in the water, but this with a slight Transcarkey colour, supposedly it really does blend in well. The thinking behind that really is that the fish have been really shy in here and hard to come by, and I have been baiting spots. I've been going out in the boat in between sessions or after or before sessions. The bait is going, but I've noticed that it is taking a couple of days at least for them as well to get on the bait, and they just seem to be really shy. So I thought anything to try and blend in will help, so I've tried to make everything as invisible as possible. So I've got a length of maybe 4 foot, 5 foot of the Illusion. It's tied on with a Palomar knot to the hybrid leg clip, and the other end of the knot to the main line is back-to-back grinner, and that makes a really small but really strong knot. And along the length of Illusion I've got little bits of putty, 4 bits along the length of it, just to really help pin everything down, and that does sink like a brick anyway, but with that, I mean, it just hugs the bottom beautifully and it just disappears. A really nice little setup. That's a little 2-ounce lead as well, just really small. And then the rig itself, again, is the transkhaki fluorocarbon, but that is in £20 this time. It's just a bit softer and thinner, and that is just set up like a little combi rig really, tied with an Albright knot, just some anchor braid, ESP anchor braid, in £15. It's really supple braid, a lot of movement in it, really thin diameter and knots really well, and that is the same hook arrangement as I have been using for nearly all my fishing, a size 5 curved shank, and that is a little rig ring swivel, a little bit of shrink tubing, so it's basically the same hooking, no hair, it's just the rig ring on the shank, but this time, as it's getting a bit crappy out there, all the leaves are coming off the trees and the bottom's getting a bit shitter this time of year, that's actually a pop-up on there now, and that just sits really low. I had a little play around with the Vogue rig, I suppose, at the moment, the Ronnie rig that everyone seems to be using. Didn't particularly like it myself. After a few times of using it, I couldn't get over the old thoughts of the old 360 rig and the mouth damage. Even though it's covered shrink, I'm sure it is absolutely fine, but this rig I find just sits exactly the same, really low pop-up, just off the bottom, but it completely disappears really with the Illusion fluorocarbon as well. So the setup is basically all fluorocarbon through, and it just looks brilliant on the bottom. It really does look good, and I just thought that little subtleness change from the braid and the lead-free leader, I thought that might make a difference, and it has. I mean, I had that fish yesterday morning, sorry, where it hasn't done fish in ages, so whether it is the change or whether it's just yesterday, the conditions were pretty good, I must admit. The sun was out, we had a little bit of a southerly southwesterly wind coming in, the weather's been a lot warmer the last few days than it had been, so whether that's made a difference, I'm sure it has, but I can't help but think that this is made a difference as well, blending in as well as it does. But we'll give it a go for a few more sessions and see how we get on. One thing with this setup, it can tangle if you're hammering it out there at distance. I mean, if you're smacking a lead out 90 yards or something, it hasn't got the anti-tangle properties that, say, a woven leader like a lead-free or lead core leader has, or tubing, because it is a lot thinner. You've really got to watch it in the air to make sure it doesn't tangle, but I'm only flicking, I'm just flicking underarm caster really where I am at the moment, so it's not a problem at all for me here. But yeah, it's a really nice little setup. I recommend you give it a go if you want to be a bit more delicate in your presentation. The other change I've made is I've swapped baits for the winter. I've moved from the NC nut to the white nut, still from Oxford Carp baits. It's a similar bait, just a real white washed out colour. As I was noticing it's taken the fish a few days to get on the bait, so I thought going to a paler, softer bait, it might give that more washed out appeal straight away, so hopefully they might get on it a bit quicker. But yeah, so it's the first session out using it this winter, and had a fish on it, so that's always a good confident booster. I have glugged that also in the white nut glug. It smells really nice. It's a really soluble oil, and it just disperses really well, sorry, and it does seem to bring out the flavour of any baits you add it to. I've added tubs of pop-ups, and you really notice the smell coming out of the pop-ups. It really does enhance them. So yeah, that's it. I'm packing up in a little while. No more action. It's been really quiet, so it's now starting to rain. The wind's really changed direction and picked up, and it's really cold compared to what it was yesterday. So yeah, we'll see. Be back probably later on this week or start of next week, and we'll see if we can get some more. Right, so you join me back down the syndicate. It's been 2 weeks since the last bit of video where I had that fish. It's been really cold the last couple of days. Well, last week or two really. We've had temperatures down below zero, a lot of frost in the morning. I got to the lake this morning and it was frozen, which is hard to believe really. Already this time of year to start to get a lake freezing, but it was below zero again last night. It was only one of the bays, but it was the bay that I did want to get in. I have been trickling some bait in there, well, a few all around the lake really. I've been putting bait in, but that's where I had that last fish from, and that's where the bait seems to be going from the most. I had a couple of laps, didn't really see anything. Not really surprising as half of it was frozen. There's only a small section to see anything. So I thought I'd go out in the boat and just go check my spots, and it would break the ice up on the way through. As I was doing that, just checked the first few spots, and they were too deep with this fog and light trying to break through. I couldn't really see the bottom properly, even with Polaroids on. So it's a bit of a bugger really that I couldn't see if the bait had gone. But as I was going into the main section of the lake, checked the first spot, and that did have bait on. And as I was going through to the next one, a fish rolled out in the middle, which is a bit odd for this lake, as it doesn't tend to do fish from the middle of the lake. The main open section has got really bad form. It doesn't really do a lot of fish, so I thought I couldn't really resist seeing a fish roll at this time with half the lake frozen. So I've come and set up in that section, the closest swim to where I could get to it. I flicked 2 singles out to that area. It's not an area that I've baited, so I just thought I'd flick a couple of singles out, see if I could tempt it until the ice melts. The other rod is just flicked onto one of my baited spots, which is in the little channel. This is like a double swim, so I'm fishing like 2 and 1 in the double. And when that landed a real hard donk. It's one of the spots I couldn't see if any bait had gone because it's a bit deeper, and that landed with a right thud, so that's given me a bit of confidence that maybe they've been at least in there and had a bit of a feed. Other than that, I'll give it a few hours here, I think. If I don't see anything else, which I haven't since I saw that fish roll, or I don't have anything, and the ice melts in the other section, I'll probably be tempted to move into there, because there is southwesterly picking up today, later on today and into the morning, and that blows that way, and that section is a bit deeper despite it freezing. So yeah, we'll give it a couple of hours here, and then I'll probably move, well, I'll definitely move somewhere. I'm not really sure where yet if I haven't had anything. So either I'll see you in the next swim or with a fish, hopefully. Right, so here we go. So literally just talking to you about how my fishing's been going this week. Not great was the answer to that, but the move has certainly paid off. In the result of this absolutely stunning 27-pound 8 common. Absolutely blown away. It's a real stunning fish. Yeah, let's just lift her up for the camera, shall we? How about that in the sun? Absolutely stunning. Completely made up with it. What a beautiful fish. 27-pound 8, as I said, and it was on the rod that I least expected to go, which is really weird, after I had a bit of an aborted take on the other rod, and I was expecting that to go again, if I'm honest. But yeah, don't really care where they come from as long as they keep coming. But just show you this side, and then I'll slip her back and see if we can get another one of these stunners. There we go. What an absolute beaut. It's a bit lively, so we'll slip her back, but yeah, what a chunk.